want first to get your reaction when you heard this news about FEMA and avoiding what appears to be some 20 homes in Florida.
Well, to say that I was surprised would be a lie. I don't necessarily want to demean or demonize every FEMA employee or worker that's out there. I think there are a lot of them that have a good heart that want to help people. The question that it leads me to is to ask the question of what sort of culture has been established in order for, FEMA personnel on the ground, or leadership for that matter, to provide this sort of instruction to FEMA personnel that want to provide help. And more so, I had an interaction with local FEMA officials as well, and they wanted to help people. And what was the interesting thing is it was stated that, hey, we can't have our fingerprints on this, which I think it leads back to the actual question, which is, what sort of culture and what sort of fear is there in place at some of the lower levels of FEMA personnel, where they're afraid they're going to lose their job if they don't speak up against actions that are blatantly not aligned with what the organization is supposed to be doing?
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. The clip that I just showed you was a short one, and I don't know if anybody's heard, but supposedly there's been some news coming out. It's all over the internet. It's all over the news. Believe it or not, even on the mainstream media, which in my opinion, I think they're trying to, for lack of a better term, I think they're trying to cover their ass, because it's been found out that a FEMA worker, a supervisor or something like that, basically went out when Hurricane Helene hit Florida and sent out a memo to workers, okay, that if anybody's property that they went to try and provide help, if they had a Trump sign on their property, to basically skip those people and just keep it moving, basically. Okay, I mean, it's gotten to the point that even Ron DeSantis has come out and made gave a response on it. I mean, it's like everyone is talking about it, and what I find very strange, like I said, is that when a lot of people were coming out, and they're still coming out on mainstream media, on TikTok and all that, you have officials, okay, that are saying to disregard all that disinformation, that FEMA is not helping, and that FEMA is nowhere to be found, that FEMA is taking supplies, and the list goes on and on and on. Okay, but now, fast forward a month and a half later, okay, now we have this bombshell coming out, and it's been proven, and that worker was fired, and now FEMA is trying to cover their end, okay, making it seem as if, we had nothing to do with this. Now, before I get into it, like my thoughts, because there's a lot, there's a lot, that's going on with FEMA. I'm going to show a few clips, okay, because also at the same time, like I said, they were trying to say that Trump was spreading disinformation, and that he was he went out to North Carolina just for like political points or whatever the case is, okay. But here we are, and there's still video coming out. I seen one video, I believe it was yesterday, up until like 4 days ago. People are still complaining that FEMA is not doing a good job in North Carolina. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, what happened in Florida. Yeah, but I'm gonna bring up a couple of points as we watch these videos, okay? And I want everybody to pay close attention, because FEMA has had a big dark cloud over them from as far as I can remember since Hurricane Katrina, okay? Which was, I forgot what year that was. Forgive me, I believe it was 2004, 2005. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But, I mean, we're talking at least 10 years, 12 years, 15 years where FEMA had all this money, all these resources. It was a different president in the White House, and yet they were still covered with a black cloud. Now, fast forward, here we are We have a Biden-Harris administration that basically hires, DEI hires. Okay, there's no secret to that. Trump has said it. He was called bigoted for saying that, and all kinds of slanderous words or whatever the case is. But yet, once again, okay, proof has come out that there's somebody in the organization, and me personally, I'm not going to say that it was a one-off. I'm just not. Okay? Because if you ask me, when it comes to Hurricane Katrina, when it comes to Maui, when it comes to East Palestine, Ohio, North Carolina, Florida, I mean, all these places that have been affected, where people need help, all we've heard, okay, we've heard more horror stories about FEMA than anything else, and yet they're still trying to cover it up as if, no, these are just disgruntled people. This is all disinformation, misinformation. Be careful what you hear online. And now they're caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Like I said, that even the mainstream media is talking about it. MSNBC, CBS, NBC, they're talking about it. And it's like, oh, but you're talking about it now because the proof is out. But you basically told everybody else in the past, okay, that don't believe your lying eyes and ears. And yet here we are. Okay. Now I'm going to play a couple of videos. I want everybody to stick with me, and I'm going to give my comment. But the one comment I want to make before I play these is this. If this person sent out a memo to anybody that was out there working for FEMA, and let's say they're walking up towards a house and they can clearly see a Trump sign and they were told to skip it, and they kept walking, I wonder how many people were stuck inside that could have been saved, and they weren't because those FEMA workers just kept walking by. Think about that, people, as I continue to play this video. Okay? I mean, when I heard this, that was the first thing that came to mind. Was there anybody trapped? Anybody on their last few minutes or maybe few hours that they couldn't scream, they could have been pinned down, whatever the case is, that they just couldn't scream out for help, or whatever the case is, and where these people could have stopped and said, let's check here, that they just walked on by because of, a sign on their property that probably could have been, okay, a sign that blew over and fell on their property. I don't know. I mean, that to me, that's irrelevant. It's just that you would think that after a hurricane, a national disaster, that they would just go and check everybody's house. For as much as you can see damage and you see people in front of that damaged property or whatever the case is, that their job would be just to go to whoever it is. And yet, they had somebody in charge, like I said, which I don't believe is just a one-off, telling their co-workers, okay, if you see this, this, and this, keep it moving. I mean, this is like on a whole, never mind being an ignorant person, that is just a level of evil, okay, that once again has been perpetrated by people on the left. And there's no hiding that no more. There's no, oh, you know what, it's a conspiracy or you're blowing a dog whistle. No, the proof is out. Somebody that didn't like Trump decided to let other people that supported him, voted for him, whatever the case is, okay, they let them suffer. And yet they keep saying that it's the people on the right that are the existential threat, that Donald Trump is the existential threat. So you rather let somebody after a national disaster suffer because of one person that you don't like. Unbelievable. But anyway, let's play some more of these videos that I got here, and I'll put my thoughts into it. Here we go.
Communities remain cut off because of destroyed roads. Debris is piling up in Douglas Lake. And now we are seeing misinformation spread online.
Federal and state agencies aren't stopping donations, but that fact hasn't stopped a string of false claims online. And 10 News reporter Lauren Lovett joins us now. You went straight to the director of TEMA and the governor for an explanation and their reaction. Lauren.
TEMA's director, Patrick Sheen, says officials are not and have not been taking donations away. Right now, they're helping organizations that are overwhelmed by donations. Sheen says in Cook County, they're getting too many donations, and now that's affecting how they're able to help and how people can get help. He says these rumors around government officials taking supplies is absolutely untrue. When we spoke to Governor Bill Lee today, he agreed.
Be very cautious about misinformation. The government is not taking resources. If it doesn't seem to make sense, it's probably not happening.
TEMA had asked people to hold off on donating items that have not been requested. That was in order to locate and rescue over 100 Tennesseans that were missing. Sheen says the volunteer spirit is great, but people will continue to need help. Right now, donors need to listen to leaders.
Don't just think about today when it's easy to think about because it's front and center. Find the time to help them 6 months from now and 1 year from now as well, because they're still going to be suffering. They're still going to be heartbroken of the loss they've faced, and they're still going to be trying to rebuild as they get on with their lives, and they'll need help then.
Now, TEMA is asking for donations to be sent to Bristol Motor Speedway. County leaders and other organizations can then request supplies. John?
Lauren.
Okay, now you heard that. You heard what the man said, okay, in the beginning of the video, that nothing is being confiscated and that FEMA funds and FEMA help is not being withheld. This was put out a month ago, okay? I put out videos, other people have been putting out videos. I mean, the videos were on TikTok, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, X, you name it. People on the ground talking about how FEMA was coming and confiscating their supplies and just taking it, saying that they were shipping it to another spot. I mean, people were talking about pallets of chainsaws, generators, whatever it is that they were bringing in, they were taking. They weren't letting them through, they were taking it from them. But yet, when they were like, well, you know, we want to be with our cargo, we want to be able to give it out to the people, FEMA was like, no. And that is a fact. Okay? They wanted to take it off the people's hands and distribute it the way they felt necessary. That's basically what it is. So, with that much power, okay, saying that, you know what, no, you give us all that, you know, you give us all those supplies, we'll distribute them. What does that mean? That means that they have the power. They're holding on to resources. But yet, the man just said that no, they haven't held any resources back. That's all disinformation. Well, here we are a month later. Okay? Here we are a month later. Let's play the video of the news now reporting the fact that, you know what? It is true. Because there was a FEMA supervisor telling people to skip over anybody that had a Trump sign on their property. What does that mean? You're withholding resources. You're skipping people. Okay? Once again, whoever's in charge of the media, whoever's working for the left, have contradicted themselves. And if I had to guess, okay, it wasn't just one person doing it. It was just that one person got busted. That's the way I see it. Let's get to the video clip. Here we go.
issue that highlighted the incompetency of Joe Biden was hurricane relief and FEMA's reaction, right?
Yeah.
And you know, Joe Biden was in charge, but Kamala Harris was running, and there was there was an avoidance of wanting to talk about how significant the impact is on so many communities based on two hurricanes. Now, according to the Daily Wire, this is a staggering story. FEMA officials, so you know, which should be helping everybody, directed hurricane relief workers in Florida to avoid certain homes that had Trump signs in their lawn. Okay, here's the report according to the Daily Wire. A FEMA supervisor told workers in a message to avoid homes advertising Trump as they canvassed Lake Placid, Florida to identify residents who could qualify for federal aid. Internal messages viewed by the Daily Wire reveal. The supervisor, Marnie Washington, relayed this message both verbally and in group chat used by the relief team. Multiple government employees told the Daily Wire. So now hurricane relief also politicized.
Yeah, no question. And by the way, there was already outrage that so many FEMA funds had been raided to give to illegal immigrants. And so obviously people are saying we gotta take the politics out of something as essential as emergency relief. I mean, this is insane. And by the way, the FEMA spokesperson has a statement. FEMA helps all survivors regardless of their political preference or affiliation, and we are deeply disturbed by this employee's actions. While we believe this is an isolated incident, we've taken measures to remove the employee from their role and are investigating the matter to prevent this from happening ever again. The employee who issued this guidance had no authority and was given no direction from anyone to tell teams to avoid these homes. And we are reaching out to the people who have not been reached as a result of this incident. Will, I mean, I'm surprised that, I think you see lots of agencies getting politicized. This is one you really wouldn't expect.
Well, it's not just, to me, it's my focus is less on FEMA and more, I would imagine this is the case in every government agency, and what it does is show the depth of the cancer inside of our government, and that you have to root out politicization at the highest levels, for example, of DOJ, but you have to also understand there's a bureaucracy under every one of these state departments where you have, you know, foot soldiers who behave in the same manner as Merrick Garland. Right. And in order to really reform the bureaucracy, I actually think you're going to need like Elon Musk walking through the lobbies of Washington, D.C. with a...
All right, he just made a good point when he said about when you have people like Merrick Garland, okay? And I bring that up because, as you can see, with the Biden administration, okay, he had his, and still does, Merrick Garland, Mayorkas, Karine, Jean-Pierre, whoever, I mean, and the list goes on and on and on of the people that he has working under him, and they take orders from him, okay? You know, I find it very strange that so many people complained for so long. When that train derailed in Palestine, Ohio, people were complaining about how FEMA was ignoring them, okay? When the fires happened in Maui, Hawaii, the same thing, okay? These hurricanes took place. Now there's proof that they were being told, basically just, you know, it was politicized. Let's just put it that way. You know, there was a lot of people online, and they still say, and they still believe it, and I believe it myself, especially with something like this. And I don't want to hear that, oh, you know what, just because there's one bad apple, you know, you can't let it spoil the whole bunch. It's not about letting one bad apple spoil the whole bunch. It's how many bad apples have we already seen in the bunch, and yet that excuse is still being used. Don't let one bad apple spoil the whole bunch. Okay? You know, there's talk online, and there's been talk online about that the reason why a lot of people have been ignored, whether it's a fire in California or whatever the case is, like right now there's raging fires going on. I mean, there's so many different things going on, is because first they say it's a conspiracy if we think like this, okay? But then people come out and say, you know what? If I had to guess, it's because of this, this, and this. One of them being a land grab. One of them being, you know what? They don't want to help anybody. Like in North Carolina, because they believe that the majority of the area in North Carolina that was affected was basically flooded with Trump supporters. Okay? Now, I can easily come out and say, you know what? Well, that could be true. That can't be true. Nobody really knows. But now, the side of me that thinks outside the box has to think like this. You can tell if the area that got affected that's getting the least amount of help is a red district, let's put it that way. It's not that hard to look in the database and find out in which county in every state where your votes are coming from. Okay? I mean, come on, let's be realistic here. Because all it took, like I said, was for the truth to come out. Now, FEMA's going to come out and say, well, this was just one individual. It's too late to come out and say that. Because the way I see it, it's like another old way of thinking of, you know what? This is not the first time that person killed someone. It's just that they got caught. And if I had to guess, okay, this is one of those situations. It's not that it was one bad person that did this. It's just that one of them that was told what to do got caught. And now FEMA's going to try to cover it up. Now, I may be wrong. I don't know. But you know what? It's too late for that. FEMA's record, like I said, and wherever they are sent to do things, there is a black cloud that comes with them, especially depending on the administration that's in power, that it just erases this whole concept that, you know what, it was just one bad worker. Another question that needs to be asked, okay, is what took so long for this to come out? If there were other people that knew about this, obviously, because they said a few government officials, officials from FEMA, well, I guess you could say government officials, they're speaking out about it. The question is, what took you so long? Why didn't you blow the whistle the very first day that you got the notice? I'll tell you why. Just like everything else is coming out little by little, people, has anybody noticed that the mainstream media now is, ever since Tuesday, all of a sudden, a lot of people on the left are changing their tune. The mainstream media, now this is coming out with FEMA. What else is going to come out where people are basically trying to say, you know what? I'm not going to go down with this even though I was part of it. We're going to have to start blowing the whistle on our own. Just like I said, the left, they eat themselves. They throw each other under the bus. They use each other up, and when the shit hits the fan, it's like, nope, I got nothing to do with this. Just like right now, and not trying to conflate the two stories, that are going on, but look at what happened with P. Diddy. He got arrested. Everybody that basically stood quiet, they all stood behind Kamala Harris. As a matter of fact, okay, what I found very strange, and I'm just bringing this up so people can see, there's kind of a correlation because it all stems from the left. The usher was asked right on TV about his opinion on either side of the aisle. He said he doesn't get into politics, he's not going to go down that road, and then all of a sudden he's on stage supporting Kamala Harris. How ironic that P. Diddy gets arrested. They're talking about trying to find out the list that he has of all the celebrities or whatever the case is, okay, who went to his parties, and now you got all these people that a lot of them have been known to hang out with him, all of a sudden started supporting Kamala. But now that Kamala lost and Trump's going to be the president, I should say Trump is the president. It's not like he never was, he always was, basically. But now you have all these things coming about. How much does anybody want to bet that more dirt is going to be coming out because all of a sudden whistleblowers are going to be coming out saying, well, we didn't agree with this. We just want to let it out because we've been sitting on this information for so long and it's eating us up inside. Which you have to go back to one of the questions I just asked. What took you so long? Why didn't you wait? Why didn't you report it back then, as soon as it happened? Because if I work for an organization after a hurricane, regardless of my political affiliation, and somebody told me You're going to skip over a Biden supporter, Kamala, Bush, I don't care who it is. I don't see political affiliation. I see victims. Obviously, this woman is so damn deranged, demented, wicked, and evil that she didn't care about that. Okay? But leave it up to the DEI hires. Okay? And I say it like that because anybody in their right mind that doesn't have some leftist woke ideology would not think like that. So it's safe to say that that's the way she thinks. Now here's another question that people are going to ask, that I'm going to ask. Is she going to sing like a bird? Is she going to take the blame? I'd be very surprised. And I think that's what a lot of people right now are going to start asking. And if she is not being interrogated to the fullest to find out, because I tell you what, I'm hoping that it just was a one-off with her. But the way things are going on, people, I highly doubt it. I truly, truly doubt it. Let's continue.
In his hands. He's going to have to sit there with the Department of Government Efficiency and cut it down to the size you could drown it in a bathtub. Otherwise, this is where we are now.
That's the challenge. That, to me, is one of the most interesting things about how this will play out. So Elon Musk fired 90% of Twitter, turned it into X because he had to change the culture. It doesn't work that way with government. You wish it could. I remember
Well,
what
you
we did with
can't.
the
You
department.
can though.
You can. You just have to do it on a certain process, and you got to be dedicated to doing it and demonstrating how to do it.
Well, the first thing you have to
And
do
let's
is
hope
take
you can.
out the unionization of federal employees so that they're fireable.
Absolutely.
And I also heard that, and by the way, Vivek.
That is a massive task. We did that at the VA when we were at just the VA, and they refused to use it inside the VA. So the government bureaucracy then fights back and says, okay, we have this tool, but we're not going to use it. And they certainly don't. I mean, it's the fight worth having. That is the fight to have.
It is the most important fight. And the other.
I would be equally pessimistic just because based upon our history and the size of this thing. I think the only thing that gives me some inspiration, well, there's two things. One, the involvement of Elon Musk. I think that is incredibly big.
Okay, they're talking about Elon Musk about taking over, which is great. But I tell you what, I think that the team that Trump is bringing in is going to be the team that's gonna how can I say, they're gonna pull that curtain back big time. Okay, they're gonna pull it back big time, and this is where I feel, and tens of millions of Americans feel, and just basically people around the world, anybody with common sense, it's about time people need to start going to jail. They really do. Okay. Now they're saying that this is, like I said, this was something that it was a one-off. Okay, I came across another clip that I'm going to show you guys real quick. It's not a long clip. I couldn't get too much, any more information from it, but I just want you guys to hear. Again, this was a month ago. Here we go.
You guys get to send us up the ladder. We need this thing fixed. Any contractor, any car that comes through here must help the residents. You must give everything. No. You must help the residents, and you've got to do it. I want both of your names, because seriously, it's going all the way to the governor's office. I can't. Okay, give me. I want pictures of your IDs, please. I can take whatever. Trust me, I can get it. I can get it in a different way. So now, you guys are going to send the information to the right people. I'll get it in a second. You're going to send it to the right people so that they can help the necessary residents. So you can help the residents here. You are not helping the residents.
Okay, it's a short clip. I'm gonna go back a little bit and pause it. It says here, you are not helping. Florida men asked FEMA members about their Helene response. You see, she's quiet, all complacent. This was by ABC anchor Action News. This was a month ago. Okay. You have someone in Florida upset with FEMA. Okay. Now this was just a clip that I came across. I mean, but it's like there's so many videos out there. When people were putting out videos to Maui, right away they said, don't listen to the disinformation, misinformation. When the train derailment happened in East Palestine, Ohio, it was the same thing. People were putting video out right away. Political officials got on, and whoever was in charge, don't listen to the videos. There's a lot of disinformation spreading around online. Okay, this hurricane happens, the same thing. The hurricane, the same hurricane, but it went up to North Carolina, the same thing. Why is it that every single time you have all the people on the ground showing proof, it's being censored, they're telling people don't believe it, is disinformation, is misinformation, and people have to go along with that, no matter how much they air their grievances, and here we are. Here we are. One person was caught out there, and that one person was telling other people, don't do this, 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 and this. How are we supposed to look at this now and trust anything that FEMA says or has said that they're doing their best to help others? Meanwhile, Mayorkas said, his own words, because I did a video on that, when Trump came out and said that they're using FEMA funds for the illegals, I put a video out on that. Many other people put videos on it. That Mayorkas said that they don't know if they can continue, if they're going to be able to have the resources for the rest of the hurricane season. And then when old footage was coming out by the press secretary for the White House and all that, saying that they were allocating money from FEMA funds to help out the illegals, right away they changed their tune. Oh, no, we didn't say that. We got the money. We've got billions. Every single time. But you know what? This is a good thing. It's a good thing. Okay? Because ever since Trump won the election on Tuesday, and if you don't believe me, just go online. There is video coming out, out of everywhere, where all of a sudden you see people on the left changing their tune. It's almost as if, you know what, let's get in the good graces of Trump. Guess what? It's too late for that. And never mind Trump, okay? The people have been airing their grievances out. You've been lying to them. You've been withholding information. You've been misusing allocated money. You've been letting people just go out there and starve and possibly die. Okay? And one of your own just got busted. But I'm still going to ask the question. All the people that knew when that text or that memo or email, whatever it was sent out by that one individual, why the hell didn't anybody speak up then? I'll tell you why. Because it probably went higher in the chain and they were threatened, or they were okay with it. It's one of the two. And neither one is good. Okay? So if you wasn't okay with it but you were threatened, you need to come out and speak up. Plain and simple. And if you don't speak up, that means that you were okay with it. But like I said, if I had to guess, this goes way further up than that one FEMA official. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that all the FEMA workers are bad. I'm not saying that. But there's one thing I've noticed, and I started noticing it. And if anybody has noticed it also, let me know. And I'm not saying just make any stories up, but there's one thing I've noticed. Okay, and I started noticing it a lot more when Obama was president. I noticed that there was a big rise and a lot of shady things going on in government, all the way down to civilian police departments. It was as if there was a lot more corruption going on. Okay? When Trump became president, was there still some corruption going on? Yes, but it wasn't as much. And you can't say that he was covering it up, because if the mainstream media had caught wind of it, they would have put it out there. No. But then Biden becomes president, and now we got more corruption from different agencies. And it makes you wonder. And I made a video about this months ago. Okay? That it just seems as if we all know that there's two different governments going on. And depending on who's in power, one side stays dormant, and it's usually the corrupt side that stays dormant. And then when they get their man in power, they all start coming out the woodwork, and more corruption starts happening. I mean, look around you. Look at what's going on. The video I put out a couple of days ago with Letitia James. You seen the fear in that woman's face. Okay? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at all this and say, you know what? No, this is not a one-off. It's just that this woman got busted. How many other people did the same thing that were in her position? She wasn't the only one holding that position in FEMA. And I say that because of this video, even though there's not enough context to it, but looking at this man angry, telling this woman who's quiet, who won't give him her credentials, he's saying, you're not helping. People may say, well, she doesn't have to give the credentials. Listen, in the time of a disaster, you should be walking with your credentials around your neck. You should be able to deal with everybody that is distraught and say, you know what, calm down, I'll give you my credentials. If everything is on the up and up, why do you have to hide your credentials? If you know for a fact the job that you're doing it on the up and up, regardless of the victim, whether they're irate, whether they're happy, whether they're sad, it doesn't matter. What they're going through at that moment, that is not your concern. Your concern is to de-escalate, or whichever way they say it, to diffuse the situation and basically say, okay, calm down, I'll give you my credentials, let's work this out. I know everybody's upset. She's not even attempting to do that. Okay, de-escalate, that's what I meant to say. Okay? And meanwhile, there was a guy that I did a video on when he said he was going to go and attack FEMA workers in North Carolina, I believe it was. This was, a few weeks ago? And it makes you wonder. I did a video with the sheriffs from different counties that were together, and I believe it was one of the mayors. They all said the same thing. FEMA is nowhere to be found. We're doing this on our own. But yet, the video I just showed you a few minutes ago, that came out a month ago, them saying that, oh, there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation. FEMA's not doing anything bad. Well, guess what? Cat's out the bag now. So now you're going to have to, and they're going to have to, and everybody's going to have to question everything with FEMA. And this is why so many people on the left are afraid that Trump got reelected. It's because they've been hiding so much dirt, they've been so damn corrupt, that they know that the first time around they got one over on him. He learned, and he's been watching for 8 years straight. And now he's got a team that's going to go in and start doing the job right. And a lot of these people, okay, are going to jump ship. They're going to drop dime. They're going to throw each other under the bus, okay? And they're all going to, there's going to be one of two answers, or reasons, I should say. One, they were forced to do it, and if they admit that they were forced to do it, they're going to have to point more fingers, or they were okay with it. Either way, okay, it's not a good thing. Either way. So, once again, okay, a conspiracy turned out to be true. Can't make this up, people. It's all here, and more is going to keep coming out. Trust me. Anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, leave a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. Also, what I wanted to mention, one more thing, and I hope you guys stay with me just a few more minutes. The video that I put out last night about what's going on with that Proposition 1, there was one thing that I wanted to mention. And I hope that whoever watches this video, I should have said in the beginning, watch the video to the end. But another thing that I wasn't able to put in due to trying to keep the video to a certain point was the whole thing with the children being told that they're going to be considered like adults. Okay? And that thing is that is something that is so much more, is so dangerous in that situation, because all it's going to take, okay, and trust me when I tell you, you have to think outside the box. You got to think 20, 30 steps ahead of the wicked person that's trying to do something, because they've been thinking about it 20, 30 steps before, during, and after. If they're going to start trying to pass that law in order to tell minors that now they can make adult decisions, how long before you're going to have perverted adults trying to go into girls' locker rooms and bathrooms or whatever have you, and since their status is going to be protected, it's going to turn around and be said that, you know what, since the children have been given adult status, we're all adults here. Think about that. Okay? So any of you mothers and fathers out there that are okay with this, just think about that. That if it gets far enough, and it will, because it's always a stepping stone for this wicked agenda on the left. Okay? That they'll word it this way one day, and next thing you know, you're going to have grown-ups in locker rooms and bathrooms with preteens, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and they're going to be protected, okay? And now you can't go and complain about it because you let them pass a law that basically indoctrinated your children to be considered adults before they're 18. So remember, people, stay vigilant, keep praying for each other, keep praying for the women and the children, pray for this country, pray for your enemies, pray for Donald Trump, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.